Alperen Sengun and the Houston Rockets defeat the New York Knicks 105-103. Let's talk about it. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Summit State of Mind, presented to you by the Apollo Podcast Network and powered by Big City Wings. In this episode, we're going to discuss takeaways from the Rockets defeating the New York Knicks 105-103. We're going to discuss the Rockets not making a single move at the deadline day and how the Rockets can climb their way back to play in contention. Once again, welcome to another edition of Summit State of Mind. I'm your host, the Commissioner Kenny. First of all, I just want to send out heartfelt apologies. We actually had a post-trade deadline episode that was ready in the mix. However, our audio file ended up being corrupted and we lost the episode. So humble apologies. Unfortunately, we were not able to get the episode out. So that's why we weren't able to get a post episode from last week. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try to cover as much as I can this week, including the Rockets Knicks game. So once again, apologies for that. Let's go ahead and move on right now with question of the night. The Houston Rockets currently stand record-wise at 24-29. They are 3 games out of play-in contention behind Golden State, with Golden State being the 10th seed, Rockets being the 12th seed. Is there a chance of the Rockets still making a play-in? Let me know right now. Drop it on the YouTube comments. Let me know, do the Rockets still stand a chance of making the play-in? I want to hear your voice, hear your opinion. Drop it right now. And be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel as well, at Apollo HOU. Once again, let's go ahead and dissect and unpack the game against the New York Knicks. There was a lot going on here. The Houston Rockets, it's been a strong, and look, we're not gonna sugarcoat how tough it's been. The Rockets have been losing a lot lately. They lost 4 in a row going into tonight. Once again, and I've described this in past episodes, the idea of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde effect. For some reason, when they're away from home, they forget to play the sport of basketball or how to execute to the best of their abilities, obviously. But you mix it in with some injuries. Fred VanVleet's been out. Alperen Sengun didn't play against the Hawks. We lost Cam Whitmore for 2 straight games now. There's been a lot of moving parts in terms of what this team has been, and we just haven't been able to get anybody healthy on top of Atari Eason, who has still been injured as well. So there's been a lot going on here, and we're gonna kind of work backwards. You know, we're gonna discuss yesterday's game. We're gonna discuss trade deadline. So I wanna take you guys backwards right now, and feel free. We're gonna use this up. You know, we're like the Summit State of Mind in terms of Rockets podcasts and shows. I like to think of us as almost like a therapy session for Rockets fans. So let us be that therapy session for y'all. So let's unpack it. Let's work backwards because there's a lot to talk about in terms of Rockets versus Knicks. So coming into Toyota Center last night, the Houston Rockets were losing big on the heels of a 4-game losing streak. Not sure of what they were going to be, on top of the fact of Fred being out, Cam Whitmore being out, Tari Eason still being out. And ultimately, the idea was that the Rockets were going to come out flat-footed. That was absolutely, positively not the case. They started fast, they started strong, and ultimately that is what the Rockets needed. They opened it up with a final score of once again of 105-103. And first of all, if we're going to talk about working backwards, Aaron Holiday was on something last night. I don't even know what that was. Let's go straight to the final play of the game, because that's kind of where all the kind of controversy was surrounding it, was that final moments of the game. So, they executed a play where they were able to get the ball back to Aaron Holiday with 0.3 seconds left on the clock. He heaves the shot. You think the game is over and they're going to go to an overtime. The ref said, nah, not so fast. They committed a foul from Jalen Brunson to Aaron Holiday, who was on fire during that entire fourth quarter. He heaves the shot, he gets fouled, gets into the offensive player's personal space, and basically gives the Rockets 3 free throws with the chance to ultimately ice the game, which they ultimately did. That is going to come up a lot, especially if you're reading headlines and news and stuff like that, because I think it was Fred Malloy that came up an hour, 2 hours after the game stating that foul call should not have been made. So that's what the final report was saying, that foul should not have been called, that the egregious act was it was known as a quote unquote incidental contact, right? Man, and if I was not a Heartbreak Houston fan, I would not think anything of it. I would be like, yeah. Or no, I would be very like, yeah, I'd be upset. Yeah, this isn't cool. This is what why are they screwing the Knicks over like that? Blah, blah, blah. But man, we've been on the other end of all these heartbreaking losses, especially with the last few years it's like we finally got one to go our way. When you think about that, you think of the botched Harden dunk in San Antonio, where he had a dunk that basically it went in and then it bounced. It literally went through the cylinder, under the net, bounced out, I think like Harden's head or Harden's arm, and then like bounced back up out of the net, which ultimately led to them waving off the play. Like that's another one of those. How about rewinding back during the game itself when Aaron Holiday, like I said, Aaron Holiday was on something. What are we doing here, Aaron Holiday? I don't know what you were taking, some Michael's secret stuff, but whatever it is, my friend, keep taking it because we need it. We need some offense off that bench, especially if we're not getting Cam Whitmore back and we're not seeing Tari Eason anytime soon. We absolutely need some offensive output. We got that from Aaron Holiday because he contacted Phi Slamma Jamma with a big Mamma Jamma dunk, that rattled the ancestors of every New York Knick that ever existed. Hey, I'm 6'1", 6'2". Welcome to the party. Big time dunk, which that was a foul, that was not called. So ultimately, it's almost like it evened out. It's the fact that it was the last play of the game. Me personally, I thought it was a foul by every rule in the rule book, whether it's incidental contact, purposeful contact, it does not matter. It's a foul regardless. So it ultimately led to 3 free throws from Aaron Holiday. 3 free throws, nailed the first 2, missed the last one on purpose. Knicks call a timeout, claim they call a timeout. We're thinking that they got 0.1. Me being a part of Heartbreak Houston, here we go. They're gonna get 0.1. They're gonna get something off, and we're gonna go to overtime. That's the negative Nancy in me thinking that. But ultimately, what happened was they actually did not call a timeout. They actually did not start the time the second that ball hit the rim, because the rule is once the ball hits the rim, clock starts, or what the rule is. So the game essentially should have been over at that point. They didn't run that clock till the ball touched the hand of the player, when it really should. Once it hits the rim, clock starts running. So, with that being said, the game ultimately ended positively for your Houston Rockets. We talked about Aaron Holiday. Now let's rewind back to the game as we continue to work backwards. I gave y'all pretty much the ending of the game, the big drama effect that happened towards the end of the game. Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's spotlight, first and foremost, the high score of the game. Let's talk about Dillon Brooks. 23 points, 5 rebounds, 8 of 15 from the field. Here's the kicker here. 6 of 7, tying his career high one time. I gotta admit, man, Dillon Brooks fucking killing it. Career high. Tied his career high from three-pointer in a game. He's on his career high in terms of three-point shooting percentage this season. You're talking about a player that's been absolutely... he's been lights out most of the season. I'll give him that. The past couple of games, he's been playing, and this isn't like me hating and by any means, but if you backtrack from the past couple of games, he's been forcing the issue quite a bit. I've been seeing a lot of Memphis Dillon Brooks coming out of him. I don't know if he feels like he has to shoot the ball more because Fred's out or a veteran's out and we lost Cam Whitmore. I don't know what it is in regards to that, but maybe that's why he felt like the need, he has to shoot more. But look, 8 of 15 from the field, that's fine. 6 of 7 from the 3. He's not going to shoot that every night, but goodness gracious, they needed absolutely every bucket out of him. He made a clutch bucket down the stretch as well with Alperen Sengun kicking out of a double team. Alperen Sengun, once again, we're going to talk about him in a minute as well. Just big time buckets being made by Dillon Brooks, confident buckets and buckets that we really needed. This team has been struggling from 3-point, especially as of late. So just getting a 6 of 7 game from Dillon Brooks was huge, absolutely phenomenal, needed. Okay, another player I wanted to discuss. Fred VanVleet's out, okay? He's out with an oblique issue. So, welcome to the association, Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson. And you're going to see our stats to the left, by the way, because I'm going to have stats rolling here from the Rockets game and the Rockets against the Knicks. So you're going to see stats to my right on the screen. Basically, Amen Thompson, he shot 4 of 5. He had 8 points, 13 rebounds. 13 rebounds, I repeat. He had 5 assists, 5 steals, 4 of 5 from the field. He was only a -5 on the court, one of the better plus or minus, second best plus minus in terms of the starters. I mean, come on. 8 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. Okay, if you watch the way Amen Thompson plays the game, the guy's a ball hawk. Like, there is a rebounding ability that you cannot teach. There's just a nose for it. I think you got it or you don't. And you don't need to be able to leap out of the building to be a vivacious rebounder. You don't need to leap out of the building. Welcome to the association, Kevin Love. Back in the T-Wolves, shout-outs to him, who was dropping 25 and 20, in his heyday. Amen Thompson is freakishly athletic. He's also 6'6", 6'7". He's one of the taller players on the court, not even the taller point guards, because he's already one of the tallest point guards in the NBA. Let's talk about the fact that he's also one of the taller players on the court, especially if both teams are running small ball. Jeff Green at the 5, and if there's another center on the other team, or if it was on the Knicks, they didn't have Hardenstein, so they weren't running big either. So Amen Thompson was able to feast on the boards. I kid you not, you need to watch. I have not seen a point guard with that type of instincts on getting boards since like Russell Westbrook. There is like a way that he attacks the boards that I love. Like there is, and it just makes me so giddy and excited because of the fact that this is what's coming. Like this is year one, Amen Thompson, getting starters minutes, impressing. Is there kinks to work out? Of course. Is the jump shot vital? No, definitely not. But is he performing at a level to which, we were all kind of expecting to play at? Yes, absolutely. You're the number 4 overall pick. And you're not expected to be gangbusters. We're not expecting LeBron. We're not expecting Chris Paul out of the gate. Or even, person I compared him to at the beginning of the season, Penny Hardaway. But we have to see something. He came in, ball hawk, assist numbers were there, about 5 assists, but he's, ironically enough, even though he's the point guard, he's not really the true table setter. He'll kind of let the play develop, and I realize that's kind of how Ime Udoka kind of has it set, where he wants to kind of have more or less, he wants Amen Thompson to be the table setter. He wants Alperen Sengun to be the one to serve the food. That's basically the best way I can describe it. Amen Thompson kind of sets the table, but Alperen Sengun is more or less being the point guard right now. Kind of just setting everybody else up, feeding everybody else. Jalen Green as well. It's kind of like a guard, kind of like playing point by committee, and that's kind of where everyone's at right now. So ultimately, I was super impressed with Amen's game. There was plenty of plays here where he was able to shine, a lot of putbacks, 13 boards. I think he had like 6 offensive rebounds. Like, dude, this is big time play. Excuse me. When he gets to the bench, you're going to need that. So just having him here, having him being vital and available and starting to slowly progress to being what we thought he could be and finding his niche and role on the team, man, it's hard. As a rookie and you're playing with in an established system like Ime Udoka, it's hard. I feel like it's really tough for a rookie. But he's finding it. He's finding his way, ultimately helping his team to a big-time victory against the New York Knicks. All right. Let's turn the page. Alperen Sengun. Okay, first of all, he didn't play against the Hawks. First game back. 18 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. 6 assists is key because I told y'all he's the primary point guard. And ultimately, only shooting 10 shots. So I'm a little curious as to why. And I know that they're doubling. Teams are starting to read now. They're starting to read Alperen Sengun and how he's kind of maneuvering and how he's playing. So they want to double off of that. So that's what they've been doing. This was a lot of plays. Ironically, in the fourth quarter, they didn't double. Alperen Sengun was able to go to work on that. It was like a play under a minute which ultimately gave the Rockets the lead, where he stretched out and he was able to get a layup, like a little easy hook shot. I mean, if you're going to guard Alperen Sengun one-on-one in the clutch, like, you're not doing it. LeBron couldn't even guard him in the clutch. LeBron, one of the greatest players of all time, couldn't guard Alperen Sengun in the clutch. That just goes to show how good he is in one-on-one play. As if they don't bring the double, they don't bring the triple, then that's what's gonna hinder him from feasting. But if you don't bring that double or triple team, oh, it's deer in headlights for the defender. Alperen Sengun is gonna go to cooking. He's gonna get to his cooking time. He's going to, the chef is ready to serve. So that's basically what happened within that last minute. He only got 10 shots up, though, because they were bringing a lot of doubles and triples during that game. Alperen Sengun knows that with Fred being out, he kind of has to be, like I said, the person that serves the food, kind of like that pseudo point center now. You saw that with the amount of assists he had this game. So it's tough to find his way. He's still trying to figure out. We know he's dominant as a scorer. We know he can be dominant as a passer. But now that these teams are kind of they're they finagled, they're fixing their game, or they're scouting it now so they know what to look for. So it's gonna create, the good thing is pressure creates diamonds, and it's gonna create more wrinkles for Alperen Sengun. So that's on two people. It's on Alperen Sengun, it's on Ime Udoka. Alperen Sengun for being able to figure out how he's going to handle the double and triple. Ime Udoka for creating schemes that's going to help Alperen Sengun succeed even with dealing with doubles and triples. So he played really well last night, efficiently, had enough passes, good kickouts, big, like I said, good big kick out against for Dylan Brooks to get a big three. He killed it. Ultimately had a very good game. I mean, this was a very good bounce back game for the Rockets. It ultimately, they had a big lead, stretched it as much as 16. Knicks got it close. Jalen Brunson's still on the court. Jalen Brunson's Jalen Brunson. Still an all-star, one of the best shooters in the NBA. And where do the Rockets struggle against? Guard shooters with handle. Steph Curry, Trae Young, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson ultimately led the comeback. And they did have a comeback, and they got the lead at one point. The Rockets' resiliency down the stretch, along with Aaron Holiday, along with Amen Thompson. How about Jalen Green, who didn't even play super great from the field? He only shot 4 of 15. How about Jalen Green doing everything else well, though? He still had 16 points. 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He's doing everything else well. Put it on your bingo card this season for 2023, 2024, where you thought Jalen Green was going to score but not do as much effectively. Turns out he's doing everything else effectively and not scoring as well lately. We'll take that because we know there's enough bucket getters on this team. So these guys are ultimately doing well. So I'm hoping that they can use this game riding out forward. Hopefully we can start building a win streak off of that, see where we're going to be. All right. Guys, I want to get through this quickly. The trade deadline, I just want to discuss, we had a whole episode. We were in studio. I had the big dog. I had the GM. We were all there talking about it. Ultimately, it was a disappointment. I mean, we were anticipating a move to be made because we thought, and granted, this was immediate reaction. This was the night of. So, you're talking about where I was at that moment. But now that I've had about 5 days to kind of simmer on it, I kind of get what they were going for. I got what they wanted, along with the report coming out that they were interested in Kelly Olynyk and a couple of the other guys that are available in trades, and they didn't decide to pull the trigger. I think the Rockets know they're dealing with a lot of injuries being nursed, so they're not sure if the injuries are going to outlast their ability to stay in play for the play-in. Because if you're going to make a trade that's going to matter right now, then you're going to try to make the play-in. But what about teams like Golden State, LA Lakers that are starting to get hot now? They've gone, Warriors are 7-3 in their last 10. Lakers are 2 games over 500 now. They're starting to go. We're 5 games under 500. Slowly, it's slowly slipping away. We're still 3 games out. So I think what happened in the long run is that the Rockets saw that. They didn't want to mortgage any of the picks, any of the players, for players that they can package in the summertime. Now, granted, I'm not giving a pass for Rafael Stone. He still has not made a major trade while in the GM position. We need to see something. I can understand it now by you not making a trade, but we need to see something in the summer. If you're not planning on keeping both picks for the Brooklyn pick or the Rockets pick, which are pretty good as of right now, I think they're both within the top 10 range. Then they need to make a deal. They need to make a trade. If you feel like you can get someone that's serviceable, if you feel like this year isn't going to be the year, then you need to make a deal in the summertime. Like, this is very, very needed. The Houston Rockets are not going to... The goal is for them to not trend downwards. And for all intents and purposes, they're not. They're already above all their win totals from last season at 24 wins. From the past 3 seasons. So 17, 20, and 22 in the last 3 years. They're already at 24 wins. They're already ahead of schedule. But the next time, we're going to need to make the play-in. They need to make the play-in. They're nursing a lot of injuries, doing a lot of injuries. I get that. I understand that. So I can understand on the back end why they feel like maybe if they were 3 games over 500 and they were just balling at that moment before deadline, I think Stone makes a trade. 100%. Gets mortgage couple picks, mortgage of the players, maybe a Jayshawn Tate, and then get ultimately, a serviceable player that can help you right now. This team did not do that. So maybe they don't see play-in. Maybe they just want to continue to develop. Maybe if they can sneak it into the play-in, maybe that's possible. Ultimately, the Rockets did not make any trade outside of Steven Adams. Good news is Steven Adams passed his physical. He is trending in the positive direction. He should be available by training camp. If he's available by training camp and he's playing close to the level that we expect Steven Adams to play at, the Rockets may have gotten one of the best backup bigs in the entire NBA. Steven Adams, in my opinion, is still a good, serviceable center. He could be one of the best or the best backup center in the entire NBA. Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams as your front line? Close the door now. The Rockets they're gonna freaking own that paint, offensively and defensively next year. So I get it. I respect it ultimately. So if you're mad in the comments, drop your comment right now if you're mad at the Rockets not making a trade. Curious to know what you think. Let's go to our last topic right now. I do want to close in on this one. The Houston Rockets, are they still capable of making the play-in? They're 3 games out. If it wasn't the Warriors or the Lakers, I would realistically say yes. I think 3 games is not insurmountable. They're 24 and 29 right now. They're 53 games into the season, which means they have about 29 games remaining. They're more than capable of making it. I think they could be. But with the Warriors and Steph Curry and Draymond and Klay, and then the Lakers with LeBron and an actually healthy AD, and that's your final 9-10 seed, I don't see any other team dropping out. The Rockets have to go on an insane 10-game win streak. That's the only way. And players have to get healthy. First and foremost, these guys just have to get healthy. I got to see Fred get going. I got to see Tari come back from injury. I just need to see everybody back on the court. I need to see the team at full strength again. The team has not been at full strength since Tari's been out. And Tari's been out for 20-plus games in total this season. So this team, for all intents and purposes, for almost half a season, have not been at full strength. So if that's the case, and you got the Warriors, a dynasty from before, Lakers with LeBron, still one of the best players in the NBA, arguably the greatest player in NBA history, it's going to be hard to make the playoffs or even make the play-in. Do I think they can do it? I think they still can. I think they can still do it. They have to, and I said this in a past episode, so I'm going to bring it back. I said this last episode that ultimately got cut because we weren't able to get the audio out. I need the Rockets to be disruptors. There's no pundit or media member in the entire NBA that thought that the Houston Rockets were going to make the play-in. Come on. Houston Rockets. 17, I just gave you a win total. 17, 20, 22. They're not going to make the play-in, right? No. I need them to be disruptors. To mess with the status quo. To step into the spotlight and be disruptors and let people know, no, this team is ahead of schedule. And if you want to do that, you got to do one way. You got to win. That's bottom line. Just win. If you win games, you'll make the play-in. They just got to keep winning games. They have to build off of this. You got 29 games remaining. Let's see what you're made of. This is the last stretch of the season. If they can tack off a good 6 or 7 game win streak, they got a shot. But they have to go on a win streak And they need to go on it now. Like right now. Like starting from the next game on. We have to see something from them. And if we see something and they continue to play at a good level, they have a shot. Get Tari back, get Fred back. They got a shot. 100%. It's going to be, the road is a lot tougher now with Golden State and LA in front of you, but they still got a shot. So I still think they're capable of making it. We need to get 3 things ultimately. Get healthy, get going on a win streak. And if you're going to get going on a win streak, how do you do that? Improve on your 3-point shooting. I guess I'll add a 4th thing. And improving on your defense. That's what kind of got you where you were at the beginning of the season. You were a 3-point shooting team, making 3-point buckets, and you played hard-nosed defense. Don't make it complicated. Ime Udoka's scheme is just, it's highly disciplined with hard-nosed defense. Go back to that. You got dogs on this team. Jabari Smith included. Get going. You have plenty of options. And the door isn't closed yet. The rest is up to this team. Do they want to make a run? If they can make a run and ultimately don't make it, if they're like a game back and that's it, that's a big season for me. It's a big win. Shows that they're not going to roll over. That they're not how they were in past seasons. You know? I guess on a microscope, on an outset in a vacuum, they did succeed this season. They're already above all their win totals from the past 3 seasons. But I'm a selfish motherfucker, guys. Make the play-in. Be disruptors. That's what the Houston Rockets should be this season. And that's how they should look. So I'm hoping that ultimately they can do that. String win streak, get going. You got a big win against the Knicks, who have absolutely owned you in the past couple of years. Build off of that. Let's get going. Get everybody healthy. Let's make some noise. Let's disrupt the status quo. Let's be disruptors. Let's get ready to go home here. But before I go home, once again, I have to give a shout out and an ad to Big City Wings. That's right, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint, one time for all of y'all. They got the 2 for Tuesday special. I'm recording on a Tuesday. That means you buy 5, you get 10 wings. You buy 10, you get 20. That's right, buy 1, get 1. How about me? I get my 2 favorite flavors. I got the lemon pepper and the gold fever. Finger licking good one time. Find the nearest location closest to you with plenty of locations all surrounding the Houston area. That's right, make Big City Wings your next meal, lunch, or dinner one time. That's right. Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for coming on another episode of Summit State of Mind. Once again, I'd like to apologize to each and every one of y'all. We were not able to get out another episode. Like I said, we had tried to get out an episode. It was super busy last week, but we tried to get an episode out last Thursday, post-deadline. Unfortunately, we were not able to get it out. Once again, my apologies, but I appreciate each and every one of y'all for sticking to it, and I try to cover as best as I could, so thank you so much for tuning in for this one. Much appreciated. Let's go ahead and end it. Let me give you my typical, sign off once again. Follow us on Twitter at Summit SOMPOD. Follow us on Instagram at Summit State of Mind _pod. Follow the company at Apollo NBA. At Apollo NBA and at Apollo HOU. You can also follow me on Twitter at Summit Commish. Follow my brother, my tag team partner, the GM Justin, at JP _Mirabueno. Follow the big dog DJ at Hustletown SZN. Shoutouts to the Apollo Podcast brethren that continue to kill the game. That's right. The crown jewel of Houston Astros podcast. That's right. BTD Beyond the Diamond. Be sure to give them your first listen for all Astros content. Shoutouts once again to the Apollo Texans. That's right. Off the Gridiron. Be sure to give them your first listen for all Houston Texans content. And once again, thank you to each and every one of y'all that make us your first listen for all Houston Rockets content. Let's get ready to go home here as my producer gives us the go home cue here with what I usually say with a go Summit, go Apollo, and Houston Rockets, go be disruptors. Go make the play in. Why not? Why the F not? Go for it. Go be disruptors. That's right. Go Rockets. Oh yeah, one more thing. Watch basketball. Yeet!